it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, May 8th. So we have the moon in Leo all day. We had that moon shift out of Cancer in energy into Leo energy yesterday morning, Saturday morning. And that was a very welcome shift for us, seeing as that moon in Cancer the last couple of days. Wow, very introverted, hella emotional, all over the place, definitely opening up some dark shadow parts within. So having this shift into this Leo energy is very welcomed. However, we are building towards the very first quarter moon in Leo later on today. So we always have a little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of an intensified pressure building because this first quarter moon is a time of action. We've sat with ourselves, we've contemplated, we've ripped ourselves down, we've broken things down, we've analyzed things right at HE double hockey sticks, and now we're ready to do something about it. This moon in Leo is bold, is brave, is courageous, wants to be seen, wants to be heard, wants to express ourselves. We have unique perspectives, unique and individual thoughts and emotions about our circumstances and about the collective stage that we are all a part of. And now we got to get it out. The energy bouncing around inside of our physical bodies like a pinball machine is only adding to the chaos, to the confusion that, of course, we're under because we're in retrograde season and we're under eclipse energy. So there are 9 different aspects taking place here today, and 9 of them involve this moon. Now, happy Mother's Day to those mothers out there celebrating it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because, like we discussed in the ascension forecast for this week, Mother's Day carries a lot of wound energy. Yes, that mother wound gets ripped wide open on days such as this. And because we've been very focused as of late on healing some generational trauma, this can be a very temperamental day for a lot of people. And because this is a sun day ruled over by the sun, the masculine father energy of the cosmos, the moon, of course, the mother energy, we are definitely feeling the push and pull between these polarized energies, these dualistic energies. And as I said, we're building towards the first quarter moon in Leo, which is definitely going to polarize us that much more. So right out of the gate, we have the moon in Leo making a semi-difficult aspect with Neptune. Neptune, of course, is our higher selves, our soul selves, our intuition, our dreams. And as we discussed in the ascension forecast, we've been blocked out of the higher realms for the last couple of days, making it very hard to trust our gut, to trust our intuition, to lean on our spirit guides for guidance. And of course, the moon in Leo right now bumping into this Neptune energy in not the nicest way is likely going to position us with a little bit of fog. Brain fog is definitely setting in, mostly because Mercury is preparing to go retrograde. But when we disconnect from our higher selves, from our intuition, we are left to our own devices here in this physical realm, dependent on our physical circumstances. And right now, we are having a little bit of a wish-washy time, trying to figure out what it is that we think, what it is that we feel, what it is that our dream should even be. This amount of confusion, again, is absolutely necessary in order to gain clarity, but it, again, does not feel good. The moon is going to bump into Mars in a positive aspect, which is going to help us out a bit. Mars, of course, is in Piscean energy, really kind of stunted in the actions that we're actually able to make in our physical circumstances. But the good thing about Mars being in this Piscean energy is that we've been able to step back and really wait for a huge amount of inspiration, a huge amount of insight. And because we have been disconnected from the higher realms, this is a good indication that we're starting to regain that connection back. The moon in Leo, highly fire, highly expressive, very much wanting to keep the vibe high and playful and energetic. This Mars energy that rules over our passion and our desires in this Piscean energy, which is really taking us on a deep dive into our dreams, into our inspiration, this particular aspect is going to fire us up, motivate us, strengthen our will, our determination, get in alignment with what it is that's actually activating within us. We are being downloaded with mission, with purpose, with new soul contracts. We're in eclipse season, so we don't have a whole hell of a lot of control because we are at the mercy of the universe's divine script. But we're definitely feeling the shift. We're feeling motivated. We're feeling passionate. We are fired up. We know what we want. We are in alignment with our desires. Now we just have to figure out what to do with that energy. The moon is going to trine Chiron. Chiron, the wounded healer, of course, likes to illuminate for us where it is that our wounds are alive and well, what within us needs our attention for healing, but of course also carries the wisdom, the resources within us in order to heal those wounds. A trine is a positive energy, and the moon in Leo, a fire sign, with Chiron in Aries, a fire sign. There's a lot in common here. We're getting fired up. We're getting passionate. We're getting very raw and vulnerable, listening to our heart space. We are healing certain wounds that we've been carrying on our heart space by truly getting in alignment with what it is that we feel compelled to pursue. We are no longer allowing our egoic self to dictate what is possible for us. And because we've had to sort through a little bit of trauma, a little bit of upset, definitely with relationships and that kind of dynamic changing, we are recognizing right now where when we honor ourselves, when we express ourselves, when we are true to ourselves, that is when the healing takes place. We are essentially repairing the wounds to our egoic selves. This Chiron energy being in Aries is about the egoic identity that we have built. And a lot of the loss that we've been experiencing has definitely kind of transformed and morphed that egoic identity. Many of us taking a hit with that egoic identity, having to detach from people, places, things, items, possessions, jobs, labels. And that has a huge, huge blow to our egoic selves. But the moon in Leo is definitely helping us heal that by tapping into our heart space, recognizing that the changes that are taking place right now, even if we perceive them as a loss or a hit to ourselves, is actually setting us up for something better. The moon is going to go ahead and bump into Jupiter. As we discussed in the ascension forecast, Jupiter is at the final degree of Pisces, preparing to move into Aries, initiating a brand new 12-year cycle. This last degree of Pisces is what is holding us down, what is amplifying our emotions, what is definitely applying pressure to our shadow work. Jupiter is at this final degree in Pisces for approximately 5 days until we actually shift in that Aries energy. Now, Jupiter is all about growth. He's all about expansion, but his time in Pisces was about expanding our minds, expanding our dreams, expanding our individual spirituality. And we do that by connecting to like-minded people. It's almost an oxymoron. That Piscean energy is the collective, the unconscious collective. And now we are wrapping that life lesson up. And when Jupiter moves into Aries, we are going to be focused again on pulling back from the collective and really pouring into ourselves, recognizing now that if we want to help heal the greater, grander collective, we have to do the work within ourselves. Our own individual journey reverberates and resonates throughout the cosmos. And the moon in Leo bumping into Jupiter in this way, in this exact crisis degree at the very last life lesson of Pisces, is definitely adding some drama. Not only is Leo energy a little bit extra, a little bit dramatic, but Jupiter is the magnifier. He really likes to intensify whatever it is that's going on right now. And this Leo energy is very focused on us as the individual, our unique experiences, our unique perspective, our skill set, our talents, our emotions, our feelings, our healings. And so having this not so nice little aspect is really putting us at odds. and making us feel a little bit more detached and isolated from the greater, grander collective, and recognizing where it is that we are entering into a new chapter of growth and healing that needs to be focused on our own individual wants, needs, and desires. The moon is now going to square, which is a tension point, it's a conflict point, with Uranus. Uranus is the great awakener. He shocks us. He disrupts our lives. He likes to shake up and wake us up to the foundations and the structures that we have created in our physical realms to show us what is strong enough to stick around and house the dreams and the visions that we're about to build, and where the foundation is weak, where it is crumbling, where it needs to be let go of. Now, I will say, in a negative aspect, this Uranian energy likes to create chaos, especially emotional chaos, because the moon is involved. We also have to understand that this Uranian energy likes to kind of show us where we need a little bit more independence, where it is we need a little bit more freedom, where it is that we need to rebel against the greater, grander systems or the obligations, the roles, the responsibilities that we've taken on in our physical circumstances in order to get back to nurturing ourselves. So the moon in Leo right now is very bold, very brave, very courageous, but is fighting the fact that this Uranian energy wants us to wake up to where it is that we have to get to work and actually building something. We can't just talk about it. We can't just dream about it. We actually have to build. Why are we talking about building? Well, first of all, we're in Taurus season. Uranus is in Taurus. That's why the shake-up and the wake-up that we're getting right now is in our physical circumstances, is in our routines, where it is that we're failing to take care of ourselves in our relationship dynamics, where it is that we're in alignment with people and unaligned with certain people. Those people in our lives that are no longer on the same vibration and frequency, they are in our face right now. When we grow and we gain distance and we gain independence, the people that used to benefit off of us, codependent on them, allowing them to be the star in the movie that is us, they got a problem with that. And they're pushing back real tough right now. The moon in Leo, squaring this Uranian energy, is meant to really kerfuffle our heart space and our head space. Again, there's an element of chaos that is needed before we gain clarity. There is an element of needing to break things down before we see the breakthrough. This particular aspect, especially as we gain momentum and build towards the intensity of the peak of the first quarter moon, is likely going to confuse us in our heart space and in our head space. Now we get a little tiny bit of help because the moon in Leo is going to bump into Mercury. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, rules over our logic, our practicality, rules over how it is that we see the world, the information that we're bringing in, how we formulate our thoughts, our ideas, how it is that we go ahead and express those thoughts and ideas outside of ourselves. But Mercury is slowing down. He's preparing to go retrograde in just a couple of days. The moon right now in Leo, very expressive, wants to be very playful, definitely heart-centered, making this positive aspect with Mercury is going to shine a bright light on where it is that our heart and our head is getting on the same page. The ideas that are coming in are heart aligned. And even more than that, will likely present a beautiful opportunity to have a heart-to-heart conversation where we're able to actually be raw and vulnerable with those that need to hear it and actually express ourselves with confidence, with clarity, with passion, with desire, with raw vulnerability, which is scary for a lot of people, but it's exactly what needs to happen in some of the relationship dynamics that we deem to be important enough to actually fight for. The moon is going to bump into Mars in not the nicest way this time. Earlier on in the day, that was a push of energy, a intensity of passion and desire and inspiration. This time around, we might tap into the not so nice aspects of Mars being in Piscean energy. This is likely going to be triggered and activated by an outside source, by an outside situation that we do not have control over. Again, like we talked about in the ascension forecast, that all you have control over is how you react and respond to the events going on outside of you. The moon bumping into Mars in this way is likely going to create a lot of tension, a lot of irritability, a lot of anger. This is us basically wanting everything to happen yesterday. This is us really wanting to confront certain situations, peoples, and not being able to do so. And because the moon in Leo is very passionate, very heart-centered, very raw, very vulnerable, very bold, very courageous, this particular aspect might kind of make us retreat from being the very strong, proud, courageous lion that we all want to be with this Leo energy. And Mars, of course, being the god of war, ruling over our physical energy and our drive and our passion and our desire, he's in Pisces energy, which means that he's passive aggressive. He's not able to step up to a confrontation the way that he would want. Instead, he wants to kind of bury his head in the sand. He wants to kind of run away. That Piscean energy is the escape artist of the zodiac. We don't want to deal with reality. We don't want to deal with conflict. We don't want to deal with the truth. This is very much an aspect happening outside of us that will kind of trigger the not so nice thoughts and feelings within us and really stunt us in being able to take the healthy type of actions that we should and want to take. And then instead will really kind of trigger our ego and could create a little bit of a drama situation for us to have to clean up later. 8:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The moon squares the sun. This is what gives us our first quarter moon in Leo. So the moon in Leo, of course, wants to take action. It's a fire energy. It's lit up. It's fired up. It's a spark. It's a flame. It's a bonfire if we're not careful. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be social. We want to be light. We want to be fluffy. We want to be playful. And then you got the sun in Taurus over here that does not want to be seen, that does not want to be around people, that just wants to stick to the comfort zone of solitary confinement, if you will. The sun in Taurus is very much connected to the five senses. And right now, our physical bodies are overstimulated, definitely feeling the ascension symptoms from the energy coming in. And anytime that we have the moon and the sun making any kind of aspect, it is the old part of ourself and the new part of ourself coming together in a conflict to see who is going to win. Is the moon, the old set of heartfelt circumstances, going to win and keep us in a state of paralysis? Is the sun, our will, our determination in Tauran energy, trying to show us what it is that we have to embody in order to build a new foundation, a new structure, a new level of value, of worth within ourselves, within our lives, bringing the joy, the happiness back? We have to make some changes. This is where the moon and the sun kind of fight it out. This is where the moon, our emotions, our unconscious self, gets a bright light shone on it from the sun that is basically saying to us, okay, you got to leave some things in the past, and we have to be aware of some of the unconscious behaviors that are constantly being rewritten by your actions, by not acting as the observer. We have to shine a bright light on that in order to see what it is we need to move away from, in order to see what it is that we need to move closer to, because we have a mission here. We have to start building. We have to start creating. We have to give birth to new elements, especially in our physical realms, if we're going to build ourselves up, align with the right vibrational people, and actually make a move to better ourselves in our physical realm, in our relationship realm, in our money matters. We have a new foundation to be built. So this is very much the conflict, very much the head to head. When we think of a square, I want you to think of a boxing ring, and we're going in and we're really fighting it out on what it is that we have to kind of morph in our heart space, in our head space, in what it is that we're bringing into our awareness of the things that are no longer invoking passion, invoking desire, where it is that we didn't listen to our heart space, and where now we have an opportunity to rebuild. We are going to wrap the day up with the moon in Leo, making a very positive aspect with Neptune. If you'll remember, this is the way we started the day off between the moon and Neptune, but it was a negative aspect, really kind of confusing us. Well, now that we've had the first quarter moon, fight it out. Now that we've reached that tension point, it is a releasing point. Now we shift. The moon in Leo, bumping into Neptune in this way, is finally giving us a vision, giving us a dream, reminding us where the hope and the faith need to be kind of renewed within us to keep that spark going, to remind us of the passion that we have, to remind us of what makes us happy, to remind us of what it is that we're going through all of this heavy shadow work for. And it's at this particular point in time where we align with our higher self, our intuition. The connection to the higher realms is definitely being strengthened. And it's exactly happening at a beautiful time, setting us up for a beautiful sleep state, which Neptune, being in Pisces, rules over very heavily. Wouldn't surprise me if we are going to have some very interesting dream content downloaded to us in the higher astral realms for us to explore a new energy, a new vibe, what makes us excited, what our heart and soul is inspiring us to now pursue.